Good morning.
Likewise.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here today. I am Ekta Mehta. So I am Ekta Mehta and I've been associated with Karma Capital for almost 14 years. I look at the large and mid cap and small and mid cap fund at Karma Capital, but that is not what we are talking about today. Today, what I want to talk about is how we look at investing at Karma Capital, or rather, how we look at it more differently compared to others. And to take you through that, let's get into it. So, before I talk to you about how we look at investments, let's have a quick look at, and I would want to know how you look at investments and what is your view when you do your investments. So, what I would request is for everybody to just pull out your phone, do a quick QR scan. What it will do is it will take you through a web page with 5 simple, very basic questions. All you have to do is just click on those multiple choices. Not very complicated, very basic. Just click on what you think is the first choice. Yeah. Of course, there are no right and wrong answers. What you think right is what I would want you to select. So I'll just be quiet for some time and let you guys go ahead and fill the questionnaire. At the end of it, you will have to click on submit so that we have the answers at our end. Yeah, thanks.
Right.
Yeah, I think we have enough responses. Yeah, let's move to the answers. First question, do you think opportunity is where everybody is going or where no one has been? And okay. And of course, we have a lot of people here who believe that, so more than 74% people here who believe that investment money is made where nobody is going, and of course, and at least 26% who believe that I'm comfortable with crowd. What I'll do is I'll try to answer these questions throughout my presentation going forward, but let's just first run through the answers that we have and get an idea on what you guys think. So, do you think companies that have done well in the past will continue to do well in future? And most of you have said that no, they may not. And of course, people who with a lot of experience who have seen market across cycles will know that even the best of companies have seen periods of underperformance. And I'm kind of not surprised with that answer. Do you think if you buy low, there are chances to sell high? Yes is about 27% and maybe is about 63%. So yes, I think all of you or majority of you kind of believe that it is kind of a dicey scenario. It could be either way. We don't know when we are buying, whether we are buying low or we are buying at a higher price, right? Do you agree that the difference between speculation and investment is due diligence on your investment? Basically, what it's trying to understand here is whether you have done the legwork in your investments before you're putting your money, hard-earned money into it. And, of course, 86% people believe that, yes, it is. And we, with a lot of research background, of course, will have very strong opinions about it. Is wealth created in holding patiently or actively buying and selling? And, of course, 84% people are saying holding patiently. This, of course, is basic about long-term or short-term, right? So I think we have quite a few about crowd here who believes in long-term holding, who believes in buying low, selling high, who believes that investment money and alpha is generated when you move away from the crowd, right? So that part is clear. Now let's put this theory to test. Would you have invested in this company? Now let's go back a few years, 2022-23. This company, of course, was a market leader in a sector, but everybody would come and tell you it has no pricing power. We had seen a lot of bankruptcy in this sector, and the company had been reporting losses consistently for the past 3 years. And many wise people will come and tell you that forget India, even globally, nobody had made money in this sector. Would you, at that point in time, have invested in this company? Any guesses on which this company is? Right, correct. So it's InterGlobe Aviation. Now it's the year 2023, and if I had come to you and asked you, would you have invested? You would have said, no, the oil prices are rising, the demand is uncertain, the company is generating losses, right? But we know what happened post that. There was significant industry consolidation. Even after that phase, we saw, of course, that Indigo went from a loss of about 6,000 crores to a profit of about 8,000 crores. and sitting on a hefty amount of cash right now. And of course, the stock price kind of corroborated with the changing fundamentals. The point here is that you have to recognize that there is some change happening within the company, right? So let's say I give you another narrative that what we saw at that point in time is an industry leader which was available at about 18, 19 times P. It had done phenomenal execution and the sector was growing in early double digits. Would you have invested in such a company? Most definitely yes. So it is about how you look at the company, not just the past performance, but also the future outlook. I'll give you one more example. Another example is, let's go back few more years. The year is 2020 and it is a sector where a very large player with very big, deep pockets has entered the industry and completely disrupted the pricing, right? And we have seen a lot of small companies within the industry kind of vanishing. And this company, which is one of the incumbents, had reported its largest ever loss in its history. And not just that, going forward, to remain relevant, most of these companies would need to invest and more money into capex to remain sustainable. Any guesses on this company? Airtel, right. So this is Bharti Airtel. Now, at this point in time, would you have invested in this company? Right? Would you have invested in this company in the year 2020? While all of these at that point in time were looking at its past, there was a slight significant change that was happening fundamentally in the company. Right? These companies at that point in time had already taken its first price hike. And it is very basic because of a high fixed cost company. When your top line starts improving, operating leverage kicks in and your profitability improves significantly faster than your top line growth, right? And that is what has played out in Bharti Airtel. It went from a loss of about 3,000 crores to a profit of 13,000 crores in FY24. And of course, the stock kind of responded to the improving fundamentals. So the point here is not that you have to time the exact bottom. It is about recognizing that the cycles are changing, even when the headline numbers are not saying that. And we have seen this time and again, whether it is companies, business, economy, stock market, or even life. Everything goes through cycles, right? And if you are able to recognize this change, then you will be able to stand out from the crowd. And it is very important because at this point, the valuations are generally at its very reasonable level, right? It is in the favor of those who have the conviction and the foresight going forward. And it is not easy, right, at this point in time, but there will be early signs of recovery. But most of these data points at that point in time would either be ignored or disbelieved or completely dismissed, saying it is too little, too late kind of a name. But if you have done the kind of legwork, if you have the conviction, then you will be able to capture the upside and we stand away from. And one way to recognize this is what we say is the accelerating rate of change. To identify these early cycle inflection points is to look for companies which are going from 5% to 20% return ratios, then look for companies which have been consistently generating those 20%, right? That is when you will see a change happening. Rather than looking at the past performance of these companies, it is very important to look at how the future outlook looks like. So I'll give you another example. Again, same sector, two choices. One is a legacy entity with a checkered past where the NPAs have gone up to 7.5%, net NPA is at 3%. And of course, because of this past, it is available at very reasonable valuation. And of course, another is the new age tech-enabled company, which has done phenomenal execution in the past. And this is why it is available at the kind of valuations it was trading at. I am sure everybody has already guessed, no prizes for guessing here, SBI and HDFC Bank, right? So if we are in the year 2020, when SBI was reporting such high gross NPAs and such high slippages, would you have invested in that company? You would have said, no way. You would have heard the noise, the worst is over, and you would have all kinds of headline numbers that you would have read in the newspaper. But what happened after that? What was happening was a structural shift was slowly emerging within the SBI balance sheet. While the slippages were coming down, they had already provided a lot of the NCAs into their books, and hence incremental provisioning requirement was coming down significantly. And this would have helped their ROAs going forward. And that is how we saw that from a loss of 700 crores in 20, they reported a 61,000 crores of profit in FY24. And of course, the stock has returned almost 3x from that point in time, right? So again, the point here is to look at the companies from a future growth perspective and not just what the immediate past is. So again, this is the same chart that I was saying earlier. The only thing I've added here is a line on the narrative. Investment is not just about data and numbers. There's also an element of emotion that is involved when you make those decisions, right? And when you want to identify these early cycle companies, the narrative around that company is at its peak. The pessimism is huge, the noise is loud, and it is very difficult to form and take a anti-consensus kind of a view. Hence, it is very important to have an independent thinking, which will be away from the ground. And that will be generated if you have done the legwork, done the kind of extensive research that is required, and which will help you and build that conviction that your independent thinking will help you generate that alpha. And this will help you stay away from the crowd. All these are not standalone, isolated examples. These are highlighting the pattern that spotting early cycle inflection points can help you generate alpha across cycles. Of course, like I've been saying for the past 20 minutes, that everything goes through cycle. So even today, what we are at India is very different from what it has been when India has moved from a $1,000 GDP to a $2,200 GDP. And it will be very different when it moves from a $2,200 GDP to a $5,000 GDP. And we are seeing those early signs, FMCG for an example. We are seeing that it's been completely disrupted with emergence of D2C players. In fact, even the distribution channel and the supply chain is kind of changing dramatically for these players versus the examples of telecom, healthcare, where we have seen significant consolidation. Again, the point that we are driving here is to look at the future and not at the past. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you is, did you notice that all of these examples were large caps? So, and all of these have been multi-baggers for us. Why? And we just wanted to must this bit that you cannot generate alpha in large caps. We at Karma Capital have been in existence for almost 20 years, and we have been using this philosophy of early cycle investments to generate alpha over the past 20 years. And we have not only survived, but also thrived and able to generate alpha through such a long period of time using this philosophy of early cycle investments. So this is just a reflection that we don't just talk, we walk the talk. If you see in terms of our portfolio compositions, we will be very different from any other PMS players or any other portfolio that you would see. We would be significantly underweight on financials. Even within financials, the kind of names that we would have in our portfolio would be very different than what you would see. We would not have the typical large cap banks. Let's say we would have life insurance companies as our top holdings, or maybe something in a payments base. So it would be, this kind of reflects what I've been talking about for the past 15 minutes. Yeah, so this is the performance. Karma Wealth Builder is the longest flagship product of ours, which has more than 19 years of track record, and that is where you will see the longer track record. I will stop here. Of course, we are always available for questions, and if there's anything, you can always shoot us anywhere. Hope this was informative. Thank you.